Will California be able to offset the redistricting that's happening in Texas and other Republican states? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy, the Hip Hop Lobbyist, and in today's video, we'll be watching California Governor Gavin Newsom speak with CBS Sunday Morning about Prop 50. Now, this is an effort in California to make sure that of all the redistricting that is happening in GOP-led states so that President Trump can have all of Congress, even though they already had the House, the Senate, and the Supreme Court, and the White House, they need more. And is the redistricting fight that's happening in California, will it be enough to offset what's actually going to happen next November? But let's get into it.
California's Governor Gavin Newsom has been serving in elective office for more than 2 decades now.
A long time.
But perhaps his most visible role these days is as one of the Trump administration's most persistent critics. He's talking with our Robert Costa.
Got hundreds and hundreds, ICE and Border Patrol. Don't think for a second we're not going to be seeing more of that through Election Day. These guys are not screwing around.
Yeah, facts about
This
that.
past week, California Governor Gavin Newsom was on the campaign trail, not running for office, but stumping for a state ballot measure that has attracted national attention, Proposition 50.
The future's inside of every single one of you.
If it succeeds next week, Democrats will change the boundaries of U.S. House districts in California and make it easier for their party to win more seats.
We can't stand back and watch this democracy disappear district by district all across this country. We're giving the power to the people.
You run for
Newsom
president already, boy.
says
You can
Prop
see it.
50 is a direct response to President Trump's redistricting push in Republican-controlled states like Texas.
The new map would give the GOP an advantage in at least 5 more seats.
On one level, Proposition 50 is about congressional maps, but you're framing it as something bigger.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's about our democracy. It's about the future of this republic. I think it's about, what the founding fathers lived and died for, this notion of the rule of law, not the rule of Don, this notion of popular sovereignty, fundamentally, a co-equal branches of government, system of checks and balances. His presidency de facto ends next November. If we're successful, we the people are successful in taking back the House and making sure that
You
we're
really
successful.
believe, Governor, if the Democrats take back power in the House, his presidency's over?
De facto, as we know it today, fire and fury
Don't believe that, no.
signifying maybe something.
Don't believe that.
But finally, you have rebalanced this system. Co-equal branch of government begins to assert itself. It appears again. If you have...
Actually, what I think will happen is more executive orders. Remember when Obama lost Congress his last few years? What did he start doling out? A lot of executive orders. So I do feel that if Democrats win the House, Trump's going to EO this thing all the way up, to be factual.
a Speaker Johnson, we may have a third term of President Trump. I really believe that.
Newsom,
crazy to
58,
think about.
has emerged as one of Trump's leading antagonists at a time when the president is wielding executive power across the board and facing little pushback from Republicans in Congress.
We do not want our streets militarized by our own armed forces, not in LA, not in California, not anywhere.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
Newsom has fought Trump's deployment of the National Guard in California. And just minutes before we sat down on Thursday, the president had pulled back from a threat to send federal agents to the streets of San Francisco, where Newsom once served as mayor.
What's it like being the governor of the state of California and not knowing day to day if the federal government's going to be sending agents or not to your state?
Yeah, I mean, it's a hell of a way to govern. I mean, we're just governing in just profound uncertainty. This sort of tectonic plates that we're familiar with out here on the West Coast, but of the nature of our politics. Some may find this, may not be a sort of prudent thing to say about the President of the United States, but I mean, he's an invasive species.
For California?
For the country, for the world. He's a
Powerful
wrecking
say.
ball, not just the symbolism and substance of the East Wing. He's wrecking alliances, truth, trust, tradition, institutions.
What do you say to Republicans, Governor, and critics of California who say California needs ICE? You've heard that refrain from all of them.
But California cooperates as it relates to criminals. We continue to cooperate out of our state penitentiary system. hundreds of people every month that we coordinate with ICE to go after the worst of the worst. That's not what this is about, and everybody knows it. You don't just randomly show up at a car wash and tell me it's about the worst of the worst. You don't randomly show up at the showrooms or the parking lots of every Home Depot.
He's destroying one of our great states. And
Newsom's critique hasn't stopped Trump from stepping in or hitting back. This past summer, Trump suggested Newsom should be arrested for how he's led California. And this past week, the Justice Department said it would send election monitors to keep an eye on the Prop 50 vote.
That's crazy.
Newsom has called it intimidation.
That's
Yet
crazy.
Newsom isn't only countering Trump. He's also trying to understand his movement. That includes bringing the president's allies onto his podcast, such as the late Charlie Kirk.
Because I think people need to understand your success, your influence.
You've spoken about how your son has told you to pay attention to some of these voices out there.
Well, we didn't pay attention. I mean, we've got a crisis in this country besides the crisis that we've discussed around the future of this republic, but we also have a crisis with masculinity and men. Men are struggling and multi-ethnic.
Yeah.
I mean, suicide rates are off the chart,
Yeah.
dropout rates, suspension rates, loneliness, despair, deaths of despair. It's a serious crisis.
Gavin Newsom's actually one of the first politicians I've actually heard say this. I know that people like to demonize folks in general, demonize men, whatever it may be. But it's sad to see that I know more people that have committed suicide than have been arrested in the past 3 to 5 years. Put it in that time frame. There are a lot of men who are out here struggling. And I feel that we don't know how to express ourselves to a point of saying, you know what, damn, I need help. And it's not everybody. I think we all deal with this world and life in different ways, but I do feel a lot of us, whether you had a father or not, right? Because, you know, in some communities, they say that father figures really make an impact, but I do feel that in today's world, there's so much on men. And we just get discarded across the board that it's like, well, damn, like, what's in it for us? Because you want us to be protectors, providers, husbands, everything else. But when it comes to actual issues that impact the quality of a man's life, there's not a lot of discussions around it. In politics, anything else. And I do feel that what the governor said here is very powerful because it actually is opening a window for a conversation about men's mental health and men's health. Not just prostate cancer, right? Let's be honest. How many brothers do you know that have committed suicide in the past 10 years? It could be social media. It could be life. It could be the expectations of not living up to what you feel the world may be out there telling you that you should be as a man. But guess what? That's okay. You're going to be all right, man. People are out here for you. And I do feel that when we start having real conversations around this, even people who are crazy enough to go shoot up schools, people enough that are crazy enough to just randomly kill innocent people for no odd reason, it's a mental health issue. So let's not just focus on after they shoot up a school or after a tragedy happens. Let's get ahead of the curve. And I actually commend Governor Newsom for this because there are other things that he's doing in California that some people may not support. Like California being $12 billion in debt from tariffs, rising costs, and other things of that nature. And it makes you think like, okay, Prop 50 may be important to save democracy, but when you're having issues where you're going to have to change the way you tax issues or tax things in your state or how your people have a good quality of life, that's an issue, right? So Governor Newsom, I salute you there, but I do feel that there are other issues out here in California that can be addressed with this because I don't see how you have a $12 billion debt and you're going to basically maybe help mental health issues without cutting the services that are currently out there or charging more for them.
What's going on in this country? Democrats haven't focused on that issue, and I'm very proud of the work, substantive work we're doing on this, but I've also been using the podcast to highlight that.
Podcasts are just part of Newsom's attempt to get some traction in our so-called attention economy. Another has been satire. Newsom's team has parodied Trump's use of social media, mocking the president's use of capital letters
You gotta troll the troll,
and
man.
AI-generated art.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
But Newsom has not abandoned old-fashioned politics. This past July, we spent a day following him across South Carolina, which just happens to be a key state in the 2028 presidential race.
Donald Trump, if we do this right, within 18 months, de facto will no longer be president of the United States. He will be neutered. He will have
And you're not afraid to go into red states.
No.
When I saw you slinging shots behind the coffee bar, I thought this guy might run for president.
Oh, it's gonna happen.
The idea that a guy who got 960 on his SAT that still struggles to read scripts that was always in the back of the classroom, the idea that you even throw that out is in and of itself extraordinary.
You see how a lot of Democratic candidates are trying to humanize themselves? Little things like that. Westmore on one side, hey, I'm not from a political family. You know, I'm an army, I'm a soldier. Now you have Gavin Newsom around here quoting out SAT scores, sitting in the back of class, still struggling to read. It could be an issue that's out there that a lot of people are like, you know what, that's me. Democrats are trying to be relatable. I can't knock it. But at the same time, you're going to have to talk about some policy that people care about. Because you can relate to me, but if you're not saying shit I care about, guess what? I may not be voting for you. It's going to be a tough Democratic primary, but Gavin Newsom's going to be out there. Let's see what we can do from here besides fighting Trump, man. Let's go with it. Let's get back to it.
Who the hell knows? I'm looking forward to who presents themselves in 2028 and who meets that moment. And that's the question for the American people.
Is
They'll
it
make
fair
that
to say,
determination.
after the 2026 midterms, you're going to give it serious thought?
Yeah, I'd be lying otherwise. I'd just be lying. And I can't do that.
Governor, you have long said that if you ever run for the White House, you need a compelling why, a reason. Are you moving closer to figuring out your own why and your own decision?
Yeah, Nietzsche said, if you have a compelling why, you can endure any how. And so I think the biggest challenge for anyone who runs for any office is people see right through you if you don't have that why.
Yeah.
You're doing it for the wrong reasons. And so, look, well, that fate will determine that.
You certainly seem to like being on the ground in South Carolina, I have to say that. Seeing you up close, you were having a good time.
I happen to, and thank God, I'm in the right business. I love people. I actually love people.
I think that's a good thing. I think when you get to that point, you have to realize again how your policies impact people. In California, being $12 billion in debt, having that budget deficit doesn't help to show true leadership to some people who are, again, probably have to pay more for services, everyday services. And it's one of those things that make you really say, you know what, hey, would you be the next great leader of this free world? Because Democrats, they're going to love it. But you start throwing out the $12 billion deficit that California's in. And this isn't old news. This is new news. This is 2025 news. It's an issue. But again, we'll see how it plays out. If the voters in California approve Prop 50, and we'll be live streaming that, that can have a major play. But I'll tell you now, California's not enough. California redistricting for their state will not be enough to save democracy for what Democrats want it to be. So they better have a wake-up plan and basically a plan of action if the voters of California don't show up to vote. Thanks for liking, subscribing, and checking out this content with your boy. I'm Hip Hop Lobbyist. I'm out.